Wait for it. Wait for it, and we're live. Hey, all you crazy sci-fi and fantasy fans. It's time for your daily dose of shenanigans over here at the Blasters and Blades podcast. Just a couple of nerdy veterans and one chaos coordinator geeking out over our science fiction passions and fantastical fantasies. A place where magic is king, the sky is the limit, and space is the place. We are the podcast where Michael, the LaVoice, dances badly for your entertainment. We are the podcast that puts the fun in dysfunction. So without further ado, we're going to let our guests introduce themselves in alphabetical order because I can read people. Just because I'm a grunt doesn't mean I'm stupid. Jesse, can you introduce yourself to our listeners, viewers at home?
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. My name is Jesse James Fain. Yes, that is my real name. And I go by the Outlaw Author because the branding writes itself. I write sword fights, fist fights, gun fights, and lots of martial and revenge tales. I did a little bit of everything that is involved in that growing up. So I try and bring a little bit of real life fiction. A little bit of real life fighting into your fiction. And yeah, that's me.
All right, next we have the lovely Miss Melissa McShane, the Paladin War Hamster herself.
Hi, I'm Melissa McShane. I'm coming to you live from India, where it is a beautiful, muggy day, and it's going to be great. I love the weather here in monsoon season. I write many different kinds of fantasy, including contemporary fantasy and historical fantasy, and the lit RPG series War Master, not War Hamster. You're going to have me saying it, JR. And I am delighted to be here, as always.
So have you, because this comes up in the actual movie we're going to talk about, have you ever ridden an elephant since you moved to India?
I have twice. Mm-hmm. Nearly fell off both times.
Did it try to throw you in a river like it did to a certain lady?
No, it was very polite, very sweet, but the frame that they have, you have to lean way forward, and my arms are stubby and short, and I was off balance. So then we went up a little rise, and that was fine. But when they turned around to come back down, I was pointing downward, and gravity was not my friend. So my husband was hanging on to me from behind, and I'm like terrified because I'm sure I'm going to go pitching head first over the poor little elephant's head. And so I tried again. And the same thing happened, and I decided I have ridden enough elephants for one lifetime. But they're really cool. They're very sweet. They have like very short fur hairs on the tops of their heads, and it's kind of prickly and soft at the same time. And they're all very, very sweet.
Okay. I have ridden a camel, which is not the same experience because they are not sweet. They are mean. They're vicious. They like to try to throw you off.
I apologize.
Somewhere out there, though, there is a picture of me on the camel with my hat in the air doing like the cowboy pose. Of course, ironically, seconds after the camera went click, I was thrown off. So that didn't last but a hot second because the camel's going to do what a camel's going to do. And you can't shoot them when they do that to you because they're like sacred animals overseas.
No.
Or at least they're extremely valuable. I don't know if it's like a religious significance, but they certainly have a lot of value because I wanted to. I thought about shooting that camel. I'm just going to put that.
We almost caused a riot at King Khalid Military City when a lieutenant got spat upon by a camel and turned and just angrily butt stroked it. And I never saw about 50 Arabs around there get so mad so fast. Oh, I thought we was all fit to get stoned. And not in the fun way.
Yeah. Speaking of a good time, we got Mr. Michael LaVoice. Who writes things? Can you introduce yourself?
I'm sci-fi and fantasy author Michael LaVoice, aka LaVoice in your head. And I write sci-fi, military sci-fi, space opera. See, it's working on Teri already. And I'm author of the Galaxy's Most Wanted series and the most recently released Gladius League series, all available on Amazon.com. I have a YouTube channel and just started getting into TikTok, and so I'm expanding my social media presence, as it were.
Is that a good thing, or is that like a cancer on the internet? I'm not sure yet. Time will
Look,
tell.
man, if there's room on the internet for OF, there's room on the internet for me, okay?
But
I'm going to have people pay me money to keep my clothes on. It's going to be awesome.
I was about to make some inappropriate jokes that the barracks would laugh at, but probably not our effort to be family friendly. So instead, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to let the lovely Miss Teri K. Job introduce herself to the listeners and viewers at home.
Hello again, everyone. I'm back after hiatus. Teri K. Job, audiobook narrator and baby author, but I'm starting to fledge. I'm fledging. I've done some edits. We're making some progress. And if I sound a little manic, I've been in this studio all day. My God, let me out.
I mean, manic has his place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes.
Oh, it helps the crazy. It helps the voices. They get really good when I'm that way.
Is it sad that we can all relate to that? The voices, I mean?
No, that means I have friends.
Everybody can relate to LaVoices. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I see what you did there, LaVoice. I see that.
I'm better at this.
Yeah, we do need the top hat with the little musical ensemble. Are you going to do a little dance for us next, Michael? Since you're the comedy guy?
Yeah, I left the monkey suit at the cleaners, so no.
Oh, well, dang it, you didn't plan that right. All right, so I am trying to, when we do panel discussions, because they are so large and so much time is dedicated to the religion questions at that point, I am trying to make them one or two and then theme them to the episode, dear listener. And since we're here to talk about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I'm going to ask you, and we're going to start with the craziness. I mean, with Michael LaVoice, what is your favorite Indiana Jones movie?
Actually, for a long time, it was Raiders. And then The Last Crusade came out. And you just can't get better than Sean Connery and Harrison Ford in the same film, in my opinion. So it was replaced with Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
Mm-hmm.
That is an excellent choice. I can't even hate on you for that. Why did you do that to me?
Because I liked, taking away your choices. I was never an officer, but if I was.
All right, Melissa, favorite Indiana Jones movie?
Oh, definitely Last Crusade. I had the biggest crush on Sean Connery, and when I learned that he was going to be in the new Indiana Jones movie, I was there for it, and I have been there for it ever since. So definitely Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Okay, Teri.
I'm just going to keep this bandwagon going. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The other two of the originals are very good. They're very strong in their own right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. But there was just something about Last Crusade that just had that little extra.
Okay. Jesse?
When I was a kid, it was Temple of Doom. And me being a little bit in the weird between generational gap of most everybody here, that's a wonderful memory of my childhood. That's why I wanted to be here. Is when I was a kid, this was one of my favorite movies ever. It was this and Jurassic Park. Where that's it. But as I got older, and I watched Raiders again with a different mindset, I no longer thought as a child. And I watched The Last Crusade. I hate to make it almost unanimous, or at least unanimous among the guests, but The Last Crusade is definitely my favorite. The relationship between Indiana Jones and his father, trying to figure things out, and he trying to go his own way. You still have that whole Nazi fighting thing going on. There's still tons of action, but then you get this wonderful mix of what's true, what's not. And I love the way they played with themes of religion, and the cool take that Indiana Jones urban fantasy-esque magics always work out. So that's definitely my favorite.
I'm going to have to say it was The Last Crusade as well, because I like the Mark, 7 tank, I think, that it was supposed to be the World War I
Right.
robot. I loved that tank. I want one. If I sell enough books, I think I could probably buy one, right? There's got to be at least a few left.
I'm sure there's one sitting around
There's
somewhere.
probably a kit somewhere you can get.
I mean, can you imagine going through the drive-thru and be like, pulling up in your old tank? I bet you get fast service.
Slide that steel door open.
Hey, can I get a number 3?
But yeah, I like the
Emphasize
tank.
that.
And of course, I like the two where they get to fight the Nazis, because I'm a history nerd. And Grandpa fought the Nazis, so it's kind of cool to see someone else get to punch him in the face too.
The only thing about that film that disappointed me was what they did to Pasha. They kind of turned him into a cartoon character, John Rhys Davies' character. He was a little blatantly cartoonish in that one, and Marcus to a degree as well. But
they were the comic relief.
They were.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have short round anymore.
I liked the shorty. He was an excellent character.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I almost think he could have been the spiritual successor if you took that character to replace Indy in future, when they spin off, instead of just putting the geriatric Indy out there. You could have.
He's making movies again. It could still happen.
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah.
I saw him. So, all right, and then
but
go ahead.
I'll save the rant for later.
Save it later.
In Indiana Jones, Hollywood had to gut Indy. They couldn't let Indy be Indy. It never would have been like it was without BS political and social agendas. I'll leave it at that.
Well, so it's odd that you say that, and we won't dive too deeply. But I know Nick Garber, our co-host sometimes. He is very attuned to the political stuff because he's very much a political creature, and he will rant about it on his own personal pages, not his professional ones. And so, having said that, he watched it and liked it, and he generally is not going to be a fan of that kind of stuff. I think at some level, like, we're so overly sensitive to that kind of stuff, we sometimes tilt at windmills, and we see things that maybe aren't there because we expect to see them, and we expect badness to come out of Hollywood. So I don't know. Having not seen it myself yet, I won't pass judgment. But I've heard people say that it was actually pretty good, that they treated him fairly. He didn't get the Bond treatment in the later one where 007 was replaced. So we did a review episode of it where I was just asking questions because I haven't watched it when it was still in theater. I might have to revisit that one after I've seen it and get more people like this one, and we can dive deep and see for ourselves. Have you actually seen the whole thing, Jesse?
Yeah. I've seen all the indies. And I actually wasn't even thinking about, what is it, the Dial of Destiny or
Mm-hmm.
Dial of Destiny.
I was really more thinking even at Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That it's not anyway. I don't want to derail. We're here to talk about Temple of Doom. We're here to talk about a great movie.
Okay, all right. And because we are civilized human beings here at the Blasters and Blades podcast, we are no longer knuckle-dragging troglodytes. Well, except for LaVoice, but the rest of us, we're grown-ups, ish. And the ish is doing a lot of heavy lifting. But anyway, so coffee or tea, and how do you drink it this hot August day? And we're going to start with Melissa because she's going to tell us all about her love of Pepsi, and she's going to wax.
No, not Pepsi, Coca-Cola. Pepsi is the devil. So Pepsi is very popular in southern India, and it's got its hooks into all of the restaurants. They call them hotels. So you have to be very careful down here. When you go to a hotel, it may not have rooms. It may just be a restaurant. But we search very hard for places that we can get Coca-Cola here in southern India, and we stock up on it. Our local Instamart probably thinks we're crazy Americans because we are constantly buying Coke. My husband drinks even more of it than I do. And so ice cold Coca-Cola on a sultry southern India summer day.
You had to make it all sound sexy when you added sultry in there.
Oh, yeah, baby. That's right.
And because I know you're listening, Garrett, no, I did not bribe her to pick her love to Coke. That was just all her.
Nope, that was me.
All right. So, Teri, what are you drinking this hot August day?
Ooh, well, I'm going to stick with I have recently switched to decaf coffee. Honestly, it helps me with my anxiety. I needed to do the switch. But decaf coffee, probably flavored in some way, maybe hazelnut, maybe something else, with some chocolate syrup, sugar-free, and sugar. And a little creamer, just for fun.
Just for fun. I get you. All right. Next, we got Mr. Jesse James Fain, the outlaw author himself.
I don't do hot beverages pretty much at all. We've talked about that before. When I do, it's hot chocolate. But with it being so bloody hot in North Georgia, it's ice water or Sprite Zero.
Ice water.
Ice water. I mean, it's healthy, I guess. But I don't know. So, well, first off, I've been doing a lot of iced coffees and iced lattes. When I get the Melissa McShane and the War Hamster money coming in, I plan on buying my own espresso machine. But for now, I've been doing a lot of iced coffees. And air this, we would have gotten all of our stories for the War Hamster series, not our War Master universe. So hopefully that'll be coming out soon-ish. Some people have asked for an extension, so we'll see. But it's all guests of the podcast that are submitted for this one because it's kind of a running joke. So you'll have to tell us, dear listener, what you think, and maybe I can bribe Teri to narrate for us, so you can keep it in audio.
I've beta read one of those stories. It's pretty great.
I hear Teri will do a lot for Klondike Bar, so
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe.
So,
I'll do even more for peanut butter M&Ms.
How do you feel about Reese's Pieces little M&M, the M&M size ones?
Ooh. I won't do as much for those, but make it a Reese's peanut butter cup.
We all clearly need dietitians because those all sound delicious, but probably not great for us.
Yeah.
What about you, LaVoice? Did I ask you already?
No, you didn't, but it's okay. No, it's my answer never changes. Coffee, black. Thank you.
Like your soul.
That's right.
Yep. Perfect.
Classic.
Okay. One of these days. Oh, I will say that, just for the fun of it, I haven't tried it in many, many years, but I did try chicory, which was the Southern substitution for coffee during the war. And I have to say, after tasting it, all I could think of was, one, now I know why they lost. And two, it tastes like bitterness and defeat. I'm just, and maybe with a shade of feet, because it was just gross.
Ew.
I mean, I might have surrendered right away if I had to drink that instead of coffee. I'm just gonna throw that.
I was reading some kind of historically based short story at one point here, and they kept talking about drinking chicory. And no, it wasn't a short story; it was a novel. It was Harry Turtledove's City in Chains, and it was a wartime. The city was occupied by the victors, and it was very World War I, World War II combined kind of a storyline. And but they kept talking about drinking chicory because they couldn't get real coffee anymore. I was like, you poor souls. Oh, no.
You'd be better with the Blackadder coffee.
I'd rather drink water.
Yeah.
What's the Blackadder coffee? I've never heard that.
Oh, from the fourth season of the show Blackadder, British comedy. And they're in the trenches of World War I, and they ran out of coffee. So what are they making? Hot mud.
Hot mud?
It goes on from there. You'll have to watch it to find out.
Yeah.
They have the iconic ending of the war, ending of the series that they did that I thought was very moving. I've seen that scene at least.
Yeah.
Isn't that where the Are We the Baddies comes from? No, that was based on World War II skit.
No, that was War II. No, my wife has recently started rewatching Downton Abbey, and we just hit the World War I episodes, and I was just like, oh yeah, I remember these now. Hated this show then. Okay.
So, yeah, that just sounds depressing. We'll move on. So I've been drinking a lot of iced beverages because it's hot, so that's what you do. Not Sprite. I will drink Diet Coke because I think regular Coke's too sweet. And I've been drinking a lot more water because I started working out and working with a trainer. And apparently, if you want to live forever, you can't be a fat lard ass anymore. So
does your trainer have an organ?
Does he have what?
An organ?
I don't know.
He cranks it. There's music. You dance.
She's a retired lady. Her last hitch was as a drill sergeant, and it shows.
Oh my.
Yeah.
And I'm like, put it down, Sarge. We're good. We're civilians now. You can release the bulldog.
Dial it back a little, Sarge. Dial it back.
Right. Never go full hua. You went full hua. So that's another movie they couldn't make these days with Robert Downey Jr.
Nope.
All right. So obviously we are here to talk about Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. We've done other indies. Eventually we will hit them all. Because it's a good universe. I enjoy it. But with that out of the way, let's talk about that. So first, the movie's official title is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, directed by Steven Spielberg for a budget cost of $28 million, contemporary to the 1984s. It earned it $331.1 million. So I'd say they made their money back. Duration of 118 minutes. Released in May of 1984. It was early May at Westwood, which is apparently a place in California. And then on May 23rd for the rest of America. I don't know why California got a special release date. They don't tell me these things. And it was distributed by Paramount Pictures and Lucasfilm Limited. And for an ad copy that I found from the time in 1935, Indiana Jones is tasked by Indian villagers with reclaiming a sacred stone stolen from them by a secret cult, which doesn't really sell me on it. I kind of feel like they could have done better. But that is what I found for a period ad copy. At that point, maybe they just banked on the Indiana Jones name selling it, because the first
They
one
did. They were. And
Yeah.
the most annoying thing about this movie is that it was a prequel. And this was my first experience with the concept of and the execution of a prequel. And nothing in the trailer led me to believe it was a prequel. I didn't get the ad copy saying it was in 1935. So they did that thing in the trailer where there's two swordsmen now and he reaches for the gun holster and it's empty. And he's like, and I was like, oh, that's a great throwback to the first one. That's really cool. And then I get in there and it's like, it's a what? A prequel? What? You know, I did not like this. I did not like this film for that reason for quite a long time.
See, I'll go you one further. When I saw it, and I know I did not see it in the theaters because I was 12 and my parents would not have taken us, but I watched it repeatedly when I was a young person, and I had no idea that it was a prequel. It wasn't until I was a little bit older that I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Didn't he already do this? And so I was a little confused. I don't think they made a big deal of it at the time that it was a prequel.
You've seen it a bunch of times though, so I want to ask because I was talking about this with JR and before we went on, and before you guys got into the studio. But there was the second highest paid American actor for 1984 was in this film, and not Harrison Ford.
I know who
Do
it was.
we know who it was? Who was it, Melissa?
It was Dan
Who was
Aykroyd.
That's
Dan
right,
Aykroyd.
Dan Aykroyd.
And the thing is, when I rewatched this recently, I was watching it while I was cross-stitching because I have seen it many times and I just wanted to refresh my memory. And so I wasn't actually looking at it the whole time. And I hear the voice and I'm like, okay, that's familiar, but I was not looking at the screen. And so it wasn't until the credits rolled at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was, and he's just there for like a second. He's not even on for very long. And
But he was smart enough to negotiate a
smart.
percentage of the gross. And so that made him the second highest paid actor in Hollywood for that year.
Yeah.
So kudos to Danny Boy.
I don't remember Dan Aykroyd, but I'm not like the guy that
he was in the you couldn't even really see him. You could sure hear him though. He's in that opening sequence where he's walking Indy to the plane and describing to him how the flight is going to be slightly uncomfortable as it is full of live chickens.
It's live
poultry.
Yeah, it was Dan Aykroyd.
And that was Dan Aykroyd. And so you can tell if you know what he sounds like, you can tell it's him, but the shot is from a very far distance and it would be very difficult to recognize him. But he is in the credits and and I agree. I think it was really smart of him to negotiate his salary that way because he got paid a butt ton to not do anything. And I'm impressed by that.
Probably enough to start a tequila company or something.
Yeah.
I know there's a couple actors who've made money because instead of taking slightly higher pay up front, they banked on the success of the series. I think one of the actresses from Gilligan's Island did that. And she ended up making more than all of them because every time it reran, they had to keep paying her.
Yep. Dawn Wells negotiated very well for that show.
And it sounded like, I imagine if you don't think it's going to be so super successful, they thought that she was a sucker probably. Like she's agreeing to what? We have to pay her less right now? I'm sure somebody thought that was a brilliant idea. So, okay.
TV syndicate that recycled the show? Not so much. Just saying.
Yeah. So, did you agree with the ad copy or do you think it was missing something since it didn't tell you it was a prequel?
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of oomph. And I think it should have, to be fair, said something about before he took on the Nazis, he took on an evil cult in India or something, you know?
And the hard part is when we go back that long, it's hard for me when I do my movie research to find the original ad copy. So I'm not even sure if that was what was used. I know what the trailer is, but of course the trailers that are available now, Paramount has cleaned up and re-released and remastered. So it's like the Han shot first thing. Like, is that what was the original trailer even look like?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
But
And
I had
I'll
this
say,
had this dream that I'll find an original copy on VHS of Star Wars, and I'll be able to see the Marlboro pack on the X-wing again, and it'll be great.
what happened?
I have
On
that.
Luke's X-wing, if you go watch in one scene, there is clearly a pack of Marlboro Reds that some technician or somebody left on the wing of Red 5, and they scrubbed it in the digital re-release where they added
Aw.
all the extra footage. But yeah, that was one of the things my friends and I were like, look, there's a pack of smokes on his wing. Oh, that's great. Not anymore.
I mean, it can't be Red 5 without Reds.
I'm saying, the only thing better than that is the new shirt that I just saw on a t-shirt ad on Facebook. It's got Eddie, the Iron Maiden mascot, in a Jedi combat suit with the helmet. It says Ed 5 standing by. I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I want that shirt.
Pretty
I want
good.
that shirt.
I dig it.
Yeah.
All right, so since we've talked about, does anybody else want to weigh in on the ad cop, or you want to move in and show that trailer?
Well, I was going to say that I learned 5 minutes ago that this was a prequel. It never took I watched it today.
Oh, wow.
As
You must be
research.
totally shocked now.
Yeah.
Honestly,
that's-
I'm not bothered at all because it takes place in a completely different part of the world. And I watched these as a kid with my dad several times, so I'm familiar with it. It just never occurred to me, never it entered my mind. Oh, there's Nazis here. I'm still not bothered. No one's LaVoice.
Okay.
I just wondered where Marion
I think
was.
I've made a mortal enemy. Ooh, after that. This is kind of fun.
No. You broke up. I was something happened. I wasn't here.
Yeah, something.
Something
But
you glitched.
The
That's all good.
the internet censors didn't want you to release the secrets.
that's right.
Clearly. All right, we're gonna play that the trailer, and we'll see what we all think.
Okay.
The old legend of the Shankara stones. The villager's sacred rock was taken.
Village stories, Dr. Jones.
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
You know how to fly, don't you?
No. Do you?
You call him Dr. Jones. Hold on to your potatoes.
We got company!
Anna, lady, we going for a ride. Is he nuts? He no nuts. He's crazy.
I thought archaeologists were always funny little men searching for their mummies.
Mummies.
All right. So obviously that was remastered and paired with the new remastered version of it. So I'm not even sure that was the original trailer, which is, like I said, when you go to older movies, it's sometimes hard to find.
Yeah.
But would that have made you guys watch the movie?
If
yeah.
that had been the original trailer, yeah. I mean, no, the scene with him going for the empty holster was definitely in the original trailer. I remember it very clearly because that was one of the things that I thought was so cool about the trailer and why it was such a shock to learn it was a prequel. So, yeah, it's probably a remastered version of the original trailer with some extra stuff thrown in because I don't remember the club sequences being in the original trailer. In fact,
Yeah.
when I went to the movie, I don't remember. I remember the opening club sequence stuff because what is the musical number all about? This is dumb. Where's Indy? Can we get to the action now, please? It was weird.
I loved it as the dance sequence, but like I said, I was like 12, and I just thought it was the most absurd thing to be a part of an Indiana Jones movie. And
You were
so
into
that-
Rodgers and Hammerstein then too, weren't you? It's okay.
Actually,
You can
no.
admit it.
Actually, I don't like movie musicals, but this really sold it for me. This show tune in Cantonese or Mandarin or whatever language she's singing in.
Right.
I just really I thought it was fun, and then the whole sequence. I mean, we're getting away from the trailer, but the whole sequence of it, she's kind of mugging, and she misses her step sometimes, and is like, a feather brushes her face and she kind of gives him a dirty look, and so it's this unpolished but enthusiastic musical number, and so that really worked for me. But I don't remember seeing the trailer. I am pretty sure that the reason I saw the movie was because of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and because my parents liked that movie and they thought that the rest of us would enjoy seeing the rest. So I have no memory of the trailer at all.
Same.
What about you,
Yeah,
Teri? Oh, so go ahead, Jesse.
I
I'm
wasn't
sorry.
born yet.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
Just like
now you're
Teri.
on my list. Now you're on the list. Gosh.
I had the box set. I never seen the trailer before, ever. We had the box set, and so I would just pull out whichever movie I wanted to watch of the three. So I feel, I mean, I can guess, like, if I'd seen the first one, and I would have shown up no matter how bad the trailer was, which I don't think that was a terrible trailer. It didn't blow me away. But if I'd watched Raiders of the Lost Ark when it came out, I'd have been there because it was Indiana Jones.
I'll say this for it. It definitely lets you know what you're in for, because there was lots of spliced in bits from the action sequences, and you're going to get a good chase in an indie film. Is just part of the whole DNA of the character and his adventures. So you're going to get a good chase, and you're going to have fighting. And so I think it was successful on that level, that it's good old fashioned indie and good old fashioned adventure. So
Yeah, and I wonder how much they had to sell the audience, because Raiders was such a big hit, and so how many people were like me, where I'm going to go see it whatever. I don't really need to see the trailer, and how many people they were sort of like, we need to capitalize on this, but we want to expand our market share, and so I look at the trailer and I think, wow, that's really good, but it's because I've seen the movie and it's sort of registering with me. So I don't know if I really can give a good feedback as to whether the trailer is effective. Really, I mean, I think it is. I think, like LaVoice is saying, it does everything it needs to do, shows you what you're going to get. So yeah, I think if that was the trailer and not a new one that they put together for the box set release, then I think it did its job.
Okay. Well, the other part of the ad copy is the showing the poster, because those nowadays it's more of a vanity thing, but back in the day, posters, those actually mattered. They'd be outside the movie theaters, try to catch your attention. You'd see them sometimes advertised, but this is what I found for the ad. Now, the original image that they used with this actually had the writing on the side with the name of the actors, that kind of thing, the data that a trailer would have, but it was so blurry that I grabbed the same image that was bigger but didn't have all the extras, because this one is designed for people to sell as merch, right? Like they could put it on their wall, whereas the one for the quote movie trailer poster would have all of the writing of, this is who's in it, this is who produced it, that kind of data. But this is the image they used, and I do think it fits the vibe. But this is an Indiana Jones archaeology movie.
Yeah, I do.
I'd agree.
So, okay,
I'd put it on my wall.
Would it make you want to go see the movie?
Sure.
If you're walking outside a movie theater in 1980.
But again, I think it's because we've seen Raiders, and this is more of the same. So I think they could get away with just showing Indiana Jones because he's the draw.
Yeah. Plus, you've got the stone column next to him with the creepy vines on it, so you get that. It gives you that temple vibe,
Right.
And so it's archaeology vibe. And he already looks beat up.
Yeah.
So, he's missing a sleeve and he's been through it again.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, how do you end up so tore up already just in the poster?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the vines on there and the facial expression, and of course, it's a
The
young Harrison
fire.
Ford, so you have to see his chest.
Well, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Well,
And of
Got
course,
some
this is
fire in the
remastered
background.
cover,
obviously.
which I really like the remastered cover for this. It has that the older look to the art style, but and it has that. If you notice, they went with, even though DVDs are going to be smaller, they went with a thicker box, like it was an old VHS box.
Yeah.
So, and then since we're talking about some of the movie, we'll go through some of the images from the film that get us with, like, this is obviously the Temple of Doom, or as Michael would say, of Doom. And I thought
I'm going to sing the Doom song now.
I thought the aesthetic worked. It's very archaeology, I think the scenery on this movie was amazing. Obviously, they got some people that are not so happy with their life decisions. And of course, the iconic scene on the bridge, which is, one of my favorite Indiana Jones scenes, even though this isn't my favorite of the movies. What is he, crazy? No, he's nuts, or what do you think? Or maybe I inverted it, but like that.
Other way. What is he nuts?
I always kind of wanted to see the line that has been used from Short Round more than any other that keeps creeping up in other media is "No time for love, Dr. Jones." And I mean, that showed up in what was that first Kevin Smith film, Clerks? It was in Clerks, and it's popped up all over the place. And the fact that they didn't use it in the trailer, I think they missed an opportunity there.
Just to give you a little bit of the visuals for the movie, and then we'll dive into talk. I like that sword, though.
Well, it's a machete, so
it's a sword. Now we have.
It is a sharpened blade.
It's good because that's jungle. You got a machete to hack your way through the jungle.
Exactly.
And he's doing that. I think that's a great weapon choice.
Yeah, it's it's portrayed as a sword, even though I know it's a machete, just the way he wields it.
He does wield it as a sword. That's true.
And then I found the movie poster that has the stuff on it, but you can't see it. When I share it with you, because I'm looking at it and it's got the writing on it. Let me try it this way. Let me do it. Share the screen again. Oh wow, stuff hates me today. But the one I found had some of the writing on it, but it didn't translate very well. So
we're experiencing technical difficulties.
It's because the internet does not like LaVoice.
That's it.
Oh, taking it out on you.
I would explain it.
Absolutely. All right, so let's dive in. Let's talk about
loading.
Why you got to do that to me, Teri? We're supposed to be friends.
She doesn't remember.
She wasn't born
then. She doesn't remember loading. She doesn't remember.
No. I am quoting. Shoot, what's the game? Assassin's Creed. Because when you do some of those mini games in there, it says loading in about that same voice. But I've never loading screens. I'm not.
Look at how pretty that is.
Ooh.
I found a bigger version while we were talking, but this is the original movie poster.
That's very pretty.
See, now I like the tagline. If adventure has a name, it must be Indiana Jones. That's as good as the man with the hat is back, and this time he's brought his dad. So yeah, it's good.
I'm sorry. Every time I hear "in this time," all I can think of "in this time," it's personal.
Yeah,
that was every other action movie in the 80s.
Yeah.
But so let's talk about, like, one of the things we assess properties, movies, comics, books, whatever, is the world building. So how do you think they handled setting the vibe that this is the jungle, we're not in Kansas anymore? Like the transition from, was he in Bangkok in the beginning? No,
he's in
Shanghai.
There we go. To go for like setting the scene that this is definitely like pre-World War II China to suddenly somehow we're in India because a plane crashed in the snow. Like, do you feel like that transition worked for the world building?
Does anybody know where it was actually filmed?
It was filmed in Sri Lanka.
It was filmed in Sri Lanka. Okay, so that's much further south than where he's supposedly. But to me, the landscape looked right because it looks like I mean, I haven't been to northern India very much, but it's a lot drier than where I live, and so the landscape looked very much like what I would expect, and so yeah, I think it was well set. I think it was believable that he was where he was. Like it didn't look like they'd said, "All right, we're going to say it's India, but it's really New Zealand, and we're filming in New Zealand." And so I think they did a good job of picking a location, and it felt like he'd been dropped into something that he wasn't expecting to. So I liked that.
Hey, dropped into something literally.
Yeah, literally.
And given how low he was to the ground when they ditched, because the pilots had ditched previously, it wasn't inconceivable that would have worked. Like I could see that being enough to cushion the fall in the snow, enough that you didn't die. Given that they weren't that high when they finally made their jump, I actually thought that was relatively. And obviously, I'm a dirty, nasty leg, but it didn't look like they were so high that it was unbelievable.
That's good.
So
I wanted to believe it. So
admittedly, so did I. And we've got the nostalgia goggles on, so we are a little bit biased. But
I had not yet reached the point where I went to see movies to poke holes in them at that stage of my life. So I wanted it to be believable, and I wanted it, even though action movie kind of, you see crazy things, things done with monkey bridges and things done with rail cars in a mine that really don't obey the laws of physics. But then again, neither does Captain America's shield, so we're fine. It's okay.
Yeah. It's suspension of disbelief.
It's a different part of the world. Physics are different there.
That's right. It's Indian magic.
Doesn't gravity work different there, like in Australia?
Speaking
absolutely.
Of location, that was one of the controversies. There were some who didn't like the way India was portrayed in this movie, and then they ended up changing the rating system from PG to PG-13, which was created partially for this movie, if you believe the IMDb stuff. That because it wasn't R, but it wasn't quite PG because of the fight scenes, so they made a PG-13 partially for. What this
about
movie.
The fights? I mean, I could understand the ripping the heart out of dude's
heart
chest.
Yeah.
That getting it a PG-13. Yeah, I could see that, but the fight scenes? Really?
Isn't ripping the heart out's part of the fight for survival?
Well, it's not a fight scene. I mean, it's a definitely a horror scene.
Okay, so we'll call it an action scene if it makes you feel better.
It wasn't really an action scene.
It was just there to scare the crap out of you.
I mean, gore is a legitimate reason to have a higher or lower rating on a film. It's one of the watchwords that they stick in there, rated PG-13 for gore, rude humor, whatever, language or whatever. But gore is one of the things that they'll list from the Academy or the ratings board on a rating placard for a movie. So, I mean, that's a legit concern because you don't want to drag your kid off to see this movie and then have to explain to him that, no, he didn't really rip his heart out, son. It's okay. Stop crying. Here, have a Tic Tac. I don't know. Something. But it's legit.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a related subject to this, and like several of us talk about this fondly, of watching this movie somewhere in our childhood. Indiana Jones, especially in this movie more, I would say, than any of the others, falls into the action, comedy, horror elements of other movies from a similar time period. I grew up watching Jackie Chan, and there's a lot of like physical comedy in Indiana Jones,
especially in the fight sequences.
Yeah, in the fight sequences, there's a lot of moments that like and I've been in fights that were goofy, that goofy stuff happened, that somebody fell or something happened, and everybody just kind of stopped for a minute and was like, and then went back to it. Like that
just
does
happened.
happen, but it was in this one I feel like more than the others. But also like Big Trouble in Little China has not the same kind of feel because that's a full comedy, but that same kind of like strange urban fantasy comedic element, that same similar feel is present in this movie more than the other ones. This Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom leans much more into a lot more wild and fantastical element in a different feeling. In Raiders, the arc feels like a nuclear weapon. It feels scary. It feels
plus the combat,
really
the combat sequences in Raiders were far more serious because it was the Nazis, because of the weapons that they had. And the same thing can be said for Last Crusade. I mean, you've got Nazis again and tanks and the Order of the Cruciform Sword and, you know, these guys with their fezzes and their rifles. So yeah, the combat was much more serious, even though the stakes are the same. Indy's trying to not get killed. You know, the stakes are the same. He's still trying to survive, but the action felt lighter, like very Jackie Chan-esque. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that the stakes are actually lower because with the other two, it's the world that is at stake as well as his life, and so this is a very almost an intimate story because he's there to help this village. And yes, it turns out that the stones are actually this big deal and big scary deal, but there's these children who have been kidnapped. There's this village that is dying, and I wonder if there's not a relationship between that fact and how the combats are broader. They're more comic because it is more personal. And so maybe if you've got the Nazis, you've got the Ark of the Covenant, then everything is serious and you can't afford to be goofy because that makes the Ark and the Nazis look goofy.
You're right. They did save a lot of the comedic elements for the downtime scenes, especially between Indy and Marion.
Right, exactly. And so I think here maybe that's why we can have these beautiful comic combat scenes that I love because it is this personal thing, this smaller scale.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although I will say, having just watched that today, the bad priest guy does at one point say that we're going to try to take over the world. Well, you got to get India first.
Right.
So you still have a point.
Right. I mean, he ultimately it would be something big, but not right now and not to the audience. The audience is like, okay, this is a very foreign country. I mean, we went from Nazis and Egypt and all this other stuff that viewers are probably more familiar with to India, which is a very foreign concept. Even now, a lot of movie viewers won't have any idea what goes on in India, except what they see in the news from very small parts of the country. So I think that this is a kind of a more alien movie too, just because Indiana is out of his depth, and so are the viewers in some ways.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, of course, it's Indy, so he has to speak the language.
Of course.
Because
he knows the legends.
As one does, because how is he going to engage the locals if he can't speak the language? And
That's right.
We have to set the plot up.
Does.
Which I thought is always convenient that he just knows all the languages and all the legends of everywhere and everyone.
He's just one of those guys who just speaks every language, and I am jealous because I speak one badly. So
he's a bard. He's a D&D bard. He's just a bard of knowledge.
There we go.
Yeah.
The deeper I think about that, the more correct I think you are. I think I'm going to stop thinking about that now because that's.
So we agree with the world building. We thought they did a good job. I did too.
Yeah.
What do you think of the characters, the way they were sort of personified as, legitimately living human beings versus just cardboard cutouts for the stage?
Having watched this today, after years since the last time I've seen it, Willie annoyed the heck out of me. It's like, I know people like that exist, but it's like good grief. Pull up your big girl panties and get over it.
I
But
think
I'm also an adult
she
now,
rides.
so.
Well, I think she rides the line between really annoying and really not, and it's going to depend on who you are or what age you are, whether you find it that way. Because I agree, I found her super annoying, and I know that's not what they wanted. I know they were going for funny, but it just did not work for me this time. And as I will continue to say throughout. When I was young, I did not feel that way. I thought she was cute and funny and maybe a little bit too scared, but she always got in there and she did reach her hand in and grab the lever while covered with bugs. And you got to give her credit for that. Even though she whined about it, she did it. So,
yes.
But now I'm like, okay, I kind of like Short Round better. Did not find him annoying. So
absolutely. Yeah. When I was younger, Willie was funny.
Yeah.
To me.
My favorite Short Round scene.
I'm an adult. And like,
Teri cut out again.
She cut out again. My favorite Short Round scenes where he catches Indy cheating and then Indy catches him cheating.
Yeah,
and back and forth yelling at each other in the card game.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It was very much like he had a very paternal air with Short Round.
Yeah.
In the way they sort of interacted. Which, when you think about the way he interacts with his own father, it's kind of a nice contrast.
Oh, that's a good point.
And who didn't get misty-eyed seeing the actor that played Short Round talk about his recent reunion with Harrison Ford when he was talking about, well, is he going to remember who I am? Is he going to even notice me at all? Maybe I shouldn't talk to him. Maybe because he's Harrison Ford and I'm just me. And then they bump into each other and he's like, are you Short Round? And he was like, I was 8 years old again. Yes, it's me, Indy. It was a wonderful story.
Yes, I agree.
And it's so good to see that guy back in films.
Oh, yes.
And he did a great character in the Loki series on Disney Plus. And what's that new action flick? I haven't seen that one yet. Was it Love Hurts? I think. Is the name?
I think you're right.
He plays like a retired super spy assassin type who's now a real estate agent or something, and his past catches up to him.
Fun.
It's a very Jackie Chan. Speaking of Jackie Chan, it's very Jackie Chan-esque kind of like his secret agent trying to live a normal life kind of a thing, and then the past comes back to haunt him.
Yeah,
but it's very much in that vein. It looks great. It looks like a fun movie. But as far as this one goes, this was before the Goonies, or was this after the Goonies for him?
Oh,
I don't recall when.
It's got to be before, hasn't it?
I mean, the Goonies was 85.
Okay.
84.
Yeah.
Okay, so this basically probably got him the role in the Goonies.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I think you're right.
And then I don't think we saw him in anything again for a while, as I recall. Which is kind of a shame.
84, 85, 86, 87. It was Indiana Jones, then the Goonies, then It Takes a Thief, then Passenger. In 91, he was in Breathing Fire, which was a kung fu movie.
He was in Passenger?
He was as Rick. He was in the movie Encino Man.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Okay.
As Kim.
Okay.
I do not remember him from Encino Man.
I don't either. He was in Red Pirate in 96 as Quan Chi Chang. Second time around in 02, which is a Hong Kong film. And then again in 2021, he had that gap. He was in Finding Ohana as George Fawn, Everything All at Once in 22, 24.
All at once, yeah.
Yeah, 24, he was one of the voices of Han in Kung Fu Panda 4.
Right.
He was in Love Hurts in 2024. Or excuse me, in 2025, The Electric State and Zootopia 2.
Okay.
Now I remember in The Electric State. That was a great flick. If you haven't
seen it. He was also in some TV.
That's on my list. That's on my list.
He was in the Head of the Class show, season 4 and 5 in the 90s. Together We Stand, which I'm not familiar with, which is 86, 87. Tales from the Crypt. He was in one of the episodes.
No way.
Yeah, he was Josh in the Undertaking Parlor episode.
Oh man.
He was in some Taiwanese television series. And And then in 2023, again, after 1993, 30 years later, he's in the American Born Chinese, which is a sitcom, Low Key, and then he was in The White Lotus.
Mm.
He said in the write-ups that I saw as prep for this, they were saying that he had trouble breaking out of that stereotype of the funny Chinese guy kind of thing. And so it made it harder for him to get work. So he went to college to work on the back end of film, and he did stunt coordinating and directing and such. Which, as good as he was, I don't know why you would have trouble finding work for somebody of that level of talent.
Well, if all they ever wanted was to cast him as the funny Chinese guy, and he wanted to do something else.
Yeah, your studio system's going to pigeonhole you real fast.
Yeah.
It was almost impossible for Mark Hamill to get any kind of work outside of science fiction, low budget crap films after Star Wars was done. And that's why in between Star Wars: A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back, you saw him pop up in films like Corvette Summer with Annie Potts. And then after Star Wars, he couldn't get anything on film. I think what was the next thing he did on film was Slipstream, maybe. And then
I don't
the
remember
rest of it
because
was
the
voice
last,
work.
Yeah, that was what he moved to voice work because he couldn't get roles. And then that was actually a great thing because he's a really good voice actor.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then he became the most meta voice actor of all time on a short film, a short animated piece where he played himself being kidnapped by the Joker and the Trickster.
Oh my gosh.
all both of whom he provided voices for the Justice League animated series and Batman the animated series. So sorry, trivia tangent there, but I do a lot of voice acting discussions on my YouTube channel, and that was one of them.
Cool.
But yeah, so I think the actors did a good job on this film playing who they were supposed to be. I think there wasn't a character I remember watching and thinking they didn't sell it for me. The only time I was a little bit iffy was when you first meet the village elder when they're coming out of the raft and he's just standing there all Gandhi-esque, not talking, just pointing, and then they'd cut scenes and he's ahead of them again, even though he was pointing and following. Like, I get why they were doing that to kind of move the story along. But if Indy knew how to speak the language, why didn't they just start talking? Like, why did they have to?
As much as I'm annoyed by Willie, I think Kate Capshaw did a really good job selling that role. I mean, it's the character that annoys me, not her performance at all.
Yeah, it was not her performance at all. The character herself was just supremely under my skin from minute one. From the opening musical sequence to the "I'll be your greatest adventure." Come on, lady. Really? In fact, I think I kind of boycotted Kate Capshaw films for a while because of that.
No,
I did.
Didn't see Space Camp?
Which one?
Space Camp.
Yeah, okay. See, this is my nerd hall of shame moment. I've never seen Space Camp.
We are doing a retro movie review for Space Camp, and we will make Michael join.
You have to. I have no idea how it holds up, but I love that movie. I wanted to go to Space Camp when I was a kid, and that was like my dream. And then they actually get launched into space, and that's even better. So there you go.
Yeah, it's all.
I have watched it recently with the kids. It holds up.
Oh, good. That
obviously the tech isn't the same, but as far as for when it was supposed to set, it still works because we know it was set then, right?
What was that other movie that came out right around the same time as Flight of the Navigator, where they actually built a starship in their backyard?
Is that batteries not included?
Oh
no, that was the robots from space movie.
Shoot, I know what you're talking about. I remember this. They built the spaceship in their backyard, but Flight of the Navigator was also really good. That was good.
That was the beginning of the found starship trope for me. But anyway, we're wandering again.
All right, so sorry. Back to Indy.
So I thought the actors, with the exception of that one scene, but that wasn't the acting, that was just the way they portrayed the role. It didn't work for me, but other than that, like from then on, it was like full speed ahead.
I know it was an exposition scene and it was necessary, but the whole dinner sequence still bothers me to this day. From Chilled Monkey Brains to Snake Surprise, that whole dinner sequence just annoys me. But it was simply there for exposition.
It was there to shock as well. I mean, they
Right,
did it
yeah.
because if these people were pretending to be real Hindus and not worshippers of Kali, and honestly, I don't know enough about Hindu religion to speak very informed about that, but I'm pretty sure that Hindus who are vegetarians would not have eaten anything on that menu. And if Indy had been paying attention, that would have clued him in to the fact that these guys were not what they were supposed to be. So that whole scene does not work for me because I'm thinking this is like giving everything away on their end. I mean, we're supposed to look at that and go, oh, you know, foreigners, they'll do anything crazy, but it's just, it doesn't work. I mean, it's shocking.
I
That
never
part
even
works.
thought about it that way. So
Yeah,
you
I
wouldn't
don't think
tell
I
me.
would have
never
until
thought about it that way.
I don't think I would have until I lived here in India, and there are vegetarian and non-vegetarian restaurants everywhere, and I have Hindu friends. So
Right. And I studied Hinduism as part of my religious wanderings in the past.
right,
And
yes,
so I knew about that, but that was after I'd seen the film, so didn't
right. You wouldn't.
pop up
It
on my
didn't occur
radar.
to me when I was
Yeah.
young. Did not occur to me. So
So do you think
again,
the Willie character, Kate's character, was supposed to be almost like a Bond girl slot in, just to be the eye candy? Is that what they were going for? Do you think? Was this before when did the Bond movies come out?
No, she
Much
was
earlier.
supposed to be.
I mean,
I think
Bond's
she
movie's
was
been around
more.
forever.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she was designed to be a movie serial damsel in distress type. She had to have the sex appeal and the allure, so they made her a showgirl. But she also had to be girly enough to not want to stick her hands into the bugs, but she also had to have the gumption enough to do it anyway, because one of the features of the serial heroine or gal pal was that they could be tough when they needed to be. Another great movie that makes a callback to that era is Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow, where you have the
good point.
reporter played by Gwyneth Paltrow, who is girly and very feminine, but she'll also turn around and deck you. You know, that kind of dichotomy is very typical of the heroine of the era that they're aping with this, because this, just like Raiders, this was designed to be serial movie tribute fodder.
But I also think that character type gives it a little more depth from the Bond girl, and from, like, honestly, what I think of is King Kong, like the actress that just gets picked up and screams the whole time. Like, we wanted to take a similar role in a film and fill it in better, which is funny to say considering how much we talked about, like, the comedies. There's a lot of comedy in the combat, and things aren't very serious at times, but I think that it's an important distinction to make. So no, to answer the question directly, I do not think that she was meant to occupy that same role. I think that she would have been a lot less annoying if she had been meant to occupy that role. They would have written her differently.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it'd be interesting to look at it as they wanted to fill that role but do it differently. Like, I don't necessarily think that's the case, because she's not, like Jesse's saying, it doesn't really fit that at all. But it is kind of a funny thought if they started from, oh, let's make her this, you know, Bond girl, but let's make her ditzy instead, because I don't think any Bond girls are ditzy. But yeah, I think Jesse's right. I think it was just a different source that they were going for.
Okay, that's fair. So what do you think of the filmography, like how they shot the scenes? Did you like that? Did you think it worked for you?
I think the magic of the action sequences came in post, in the editing. This is Spielberg after all, and he's quite famous for using multiple camera angles and multiple takes or shots of the same thing happening, but from different aspects, and then splicing it together later for dramatic tension and or pacing purposes. And he's very, very good at it. Even his early films showed that gift that he has for that visual storytelling, and which is the big difference. Most of us here are authors, and we're not filmmakers for the most part, but some of us may have dabbled. I've dabbled in indie film, and visual storytelling as a comic book fan also, I can tell you, is far, far different than novelization or even a stage play. And Spielberg's a master at it. And whoever he hired to be his editor, that guy was a pro for sure.
So what did you guys think of Indy as an actual character, the character of Indiana Jones? Not the actor, but the actual character within the plot.
I like him because he's competent without being hyper competent. He still fails at stuff. He fails his will save when they feed him the blood, and is a zombie for a little while.
He drinks the poison.
Yeah, that too. Actually, I like that scene.
That had to be, as a character, that had to be very frustrating for him.
Yeah.
As a man of science who kind of poo-poos away all of the mysticism that he deals with in his profession, and to actually have something turn out to be real. And, we have to remember now, Teri, it's a prequel. So this is pre-Ark of the Covenant experience. And so, for me, it wasn't as much character development for Indy in this one as him having to deal with bits of his past coming back to mess with him in Raiders, and having to deal with the father-son dynamic in Last Crusade. So for me, this one, Indy's more of a still picture than he is a developing character in this one.
That's the drawback of doing a prequel focused on just the main character, because you have to get him back to where he was in the movie or the book or whatever that came first. I like the idea of Indiana Jones as an archetype. I think it works well. It's been done since, obviously different names. But I think it works as a character archetype.
I mean, how many series have you seen out there now? And I've seen a lot of them build themselves as Indiana Jones in space.
Right.
I mean, there's been a literal crap ton of them out there.
Yeah, he is the archetype. He is the high water mark that people are, and everybody knows too. I mean, that on the other side of that, it's relatable because we all know who he is. So not only is he the archetype, he's got that intense market penetration.
Not only the archetype, but even to the point now where the character has been parodied in a lit RPG fantasy in the character of, what's his name, Philadelphia. It's Mayor of Noobtown series.
There's been so many B movies that parody Indiana Jones as well.
Yeah, but this guy's literal name is Philadelphia something or other, and it's
Philadelphia Smith.
Philadelphia Smith.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, but no, and I'll tell you this, and I'm going to call him out on it because I can, and because he'll get a giggle when he hears his name. I go to church with a guy named Daniel Jones, and his first son is Isaac Indiana Jones. On his birth certificate is Isaac Indiana Jones, and he's one of my sons. My son Noah, it's one of his best friends. And so it's just so cool because our old pastor retired, but he to this day still calls him Indy. It's great.
Oh yeah, I love that.
That's awesome.
That's really great. I don't know. I like that he's got the character has so much depth to him. We talk about the fact that he doesn't. This is a picture of him. The difference between a static character and a dynamic character is not that they never change versus they always change. It means somebody who is iconic, who's an archetype, and Batman, Superman. These are all characters where they don't necessarily have a character arc. And I kind of wonder, thinking about this now, what it would look like if you showed somebody who had never seen the movies in the correct chronological order. Showed them Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom first, and then see if that looks like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, if it looks like he's learned from what happened. I mean, obviously they couldn't have done that's like That is impossible, I think, for them to have said, all right, we're going to make Raiders of the Lost Ark and we're going to insert all these things because our next film is going to be a prequel. I really don't think they thought that.
No, they didn't. And I'll say that Indy seems a little jaded in Raiders.
Yeah.
To me, the jadedness, when he's doing his lecture about how danger to life and limb isn't as big a deal in his profession as local lore and legend can be a problem. And you would think that he might not have that take on it, remembering his time in the little village with the missing children and retrieving the sacred stones. So yeah, I'm not sure that, but I may be going for too much subtlety. I don't know.
I don't think it would work, but I think it would be an interesting experiment to try.
I'm willing to try. Do we know anybody that hasn't seen him?
Do I know anyone who hasn't seen?
Challenge.
I have a 9-year-old that I don't think has had the pleasure yet, so we can try it out on.
And you've got the box set, so you'll have to report back to us.
Oh, if I could, man, I'd do some pretty unspeakable things to be able to find that box set. I have no idea where it is. That was 4 or 5 houses ago. That was multiple people, the end of multiple people's lives ago. So I have no idea. Yeah.
So
but yeah, that'd be something.
One movie that was very popular was a 2022 The Lost City movie with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
That was so cute.
It was
really
basically
cute.
It was
well, except the Indiana Jones character dies.
Even Romancing the Stone could be said to be
Romancing the
Stone.
Yeah. But I mean,
Alan Quartermain and King Solomon's Mines, or Alan Quartermain in the City of Gold. Those are obvious.
It definitely had homage, if not straight parody, of the Indiana Jones IP and the concept of that character. So we talked about Indy. Do you have a favorite secondary? Do you have a favorite secondary character in this one?
Oh, short round.
Yeah, short round.
Hands down.
Secondary? What do you mean secondary?
Short round's movie, dude. Indy is his side.
Short round's movie. Indy's just
around in there. Short round does everything. Yeah.
There's this weird dynamic.
Yeah.
There's this weird dynamic that happens with the whole mind control thing, right? So Indy gets hit with this potion, and then he's like under the priest's control half the time, and so it shows that Short Round is the brain that is running all of this, and Indy just acts as the muscle, like that happens when he's not under control. It's this really weird dynamic that I never thought about until I watched it as an adult. It annoyed me as a kid, but if
it wasn't for Indy's influence, Short Round would have grown up to run a triad.
Yeah.
That's
serious as a heart attack.
You're totally right. You're totally right.
Michael, I have enough stuff to write. You have to stop this. I can't put anything else on the project list.
I'm giving MD Bonjour stuff to write. Now I'm giving you stuff. This is what I do.
I would have loved to see Short Round as a young adult or an adult come back to be with Indy. I would have loved to see that dynamic when they were both a little bit more mature. Mm-hmm. That would have been so cool. I don't know how they could have managed it, except, I have not seen the 4th and 5th movies. Really not interested in seeing
because they
the 4th
don't
and 5th
exist.
movies. Yeah, that's I don't want to have to hallucinate again. That would be bad. But there was room for it, and maybe it was just that the actor was not in a position to do that, and maybe nobody ever thought of it. But I would have loved to see that.
Yeah, that would have been nice to have that come full circle. Maybe have him show up as a student at the university.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Or a rival archaeologist, even. I mean, this young.
Oh, that would be great. Short Round and Indy going after the same treasure. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, if say Indy keeps hearing about and keeps being beaten to the punch by some mysterious person, finally encounters him, and it's Short Round. I mean, that would be fantastic. I love that idea.
The new Belloc is Short Round. That's wonderful.
Making it where he's stuck in a precarious
Jesse
position.
James the anthology.
Yeah.
God bless.
I'm joking. We're booked for 2026.
The Fanfic Adventures of Indiana Jones, edited by Jesse James Fain.
So, is there anything that you thought that they didn't cover plot-wise? Because we're going to discuss the plot, but we obviously no spoilers. Even though it's a 30-something-year-old, 40-something-year-old movie, but is there anything you felt like that they did? Hold on, Jesse. Hold on.
Yes. Make that man center stage. There we go.
All right. Yay.
I don't know why I have to say this for a movie that's older than me.
Yep.
Are there any plot points you
Shut up,
felt
Jesse.
like needed to be wrapped up that weren't? I'll
don't think
start.
so.
I don't feel like he got back at the triad that tried to kill him.
I think they were irrelevant, so I didn't mind that so much.
I
Like,
hold a grudge. I
yeah.
minded.
You know,
I think
it's
yeah,
like at least it was proper usage of story beats instead of this happens and then it was this happens therefore, which is, you know, the quality story beat. This
Right.
happens therefore, and this happens, but, you know, so that was proper story beats, but it was almost a and then. it was just on the border of not being a therefore kind of a story beat. So yeah, like you, I don't think they mattered much.
Yeah.
Well, it mattered to me. Damn it.
Well, in that case, yes,
real
you will
me.
feel cheated because they just
That's
don't.
because you're a salty old bastard and you're into revenge.
No, but I mean, if someone tries to kill me, I kind of take that a little personal.
Well, this is
Yeah, but
true.
Indy's got lots of people trying to kill him. He just can't keep track. You know, if
I
he's
mean, at a
got
certain
a
point,
That is
vendetta
true.
against everybody who
I would
who
have
tries
to kill
him.
everyone that tried to kill me, and they'd call me a serial killer at that point. But I'm just
That's
saying I would
right.
make the effort.
See,
That,
now we got another. Now I got to do another one where Indy's more bloody minded, and instead of going back to the university and teaching classes and acting like nothing's going on, he's showing up at people's drug dens.
Well, he didn't
Indiana
get the
Jones.
diamond.
International assassin.
He didn't get the gold, and he didn't get the statue ashes of the dead guy, the first emperor of China, right? One of the dynasty emperors.
Right.
He got the antidote, though.
What's that?
He got the antidote, though.
He didn't die.
I mean, that's
He's
good.
alive.
That's good.
Not
Well,
dying
like,
is always a W in my book. I don't know about you.
It was the remains of Nurhaci, I think they said, who's the emperor, the emperor, the first emperor of the Sao of. I don't know. I'm butchering the Chinese. He was an important emperor who's dead. We'll go with that.
Close enough.
Important
So,
dead guy. I like that.
And from this, and the way that Teri is laughing, I'm thinking that Jesse and I need to write a story with all these kinds of names in them, and then hire Teri to read it.
I already have JF Posthumous for that.
But yeah, I thought. I don't know. I just feel like he got
apostrophes.
robbed, and he was out a lot of money gallivanting the world to do this, and he has nothing to show for it.
That's
what
other
the
thing,
research grants are for.
Yeah, he doesn't end up with treasure the way, you know, you kind of hoped he would.
Yeah, not the Tomb Raider style.
Right. Yeah.
It's the adventures you had along the way.
All right. And this muscatool is M for murder. So overall,
foul.
Did you guys like the plot of this movie?
Okay, I have to say, again, when I was young, I did not realize how very dark it is. It's not like super dark by modern standards, but certainly by comparison to the first movie, it's a little darker. And so I'm watching it and going, wow, there's like, I remembered the heart thing, but he's drinking blood and there's this and there's that. And it's all unrelenting and it's all, you know, literally kind of dark because they're in those caverns. And I just didn't remember that. I just remembered how exciting and fun it was when I was a kid. So I don't know what to make of that. Because again, I don't think I'd call it a dark movie. I really don't think it is. But my adult perspective is very different than my child's perspective.
Well, they dressed it up for that specific purpose, though. Like we have child kidnapping, child slavery. There's, you know, ritualistic killing. bizarre cults that eat bizarre creatures. And this, I would think this actually is the darkest Indiana Jones movie, but because of those trappings that we talked about earlier, where we have the physical comedy and Willie's strange position as this damsel in distress that sometimes is super annoying and sometimes saves the day, and because of everything that's going on here and the weird musical number, it is, I would say, the most kid friendly, while simultaneously the most darkest of all of the Indiana Jones movies, because of that balance, the way they tried to work those things out.
Because of those thematic elements, it had to have the absurdities to balance those out.
Yeah,
or
I
otherwise you
agree.
would have left the theater just depressed.
Yeah. And I think that's why I wouldn't call it dark in an absolute sense. I definitely agree that it's the darkest of the films, but you're right. It's that balance of comedic stuff that keeps it from being just unrelentingly hard to watch.
Right, and nobody likes to see the hero turned even temporarily into a villainous pawn.
That was the moment for me. It's
For me, that was the hardest part to watch.
Yeah.
And Short Round's begging and pleading for him to snap out of it just about broke my heart,
Yeah.
I think it's one of those movies that you can watch it when you're young and you see one thing, but then watching it as an adult with more knowledge and experience, it's a very different film.
Oh, definitely.
This is one of those ones where, like, when you're younger, you resonate with different characters than when you're older. Because I was watching Hook with my nephew the other day, and I'm just thinking, Captain Hook doesn't sound like he's that unreasonable in the Robin Williams version of it. And I'm like, I mean, he has he's got some points going on right here when he's talking to them on the ship. So I think as we get older, we relate to different characters.
Absolutely.
Dustin Hoffman was so freaking brilliant in that, though. God.
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
That's probably one of my favorite roles that he's ever done. And I'm so glad he agreed to do it. That was at the point in time in Hollywood when a lot of people didn't want to work with Robin because he stole every scene, because he was who he was, because you had literal blank pages inserted into scripts that says Robin does his thing here, and then 3 pages later you pick up with dialogue. A lot of people didn't know how to work with him, but Dustin just dove right in with both feet, and it's some of the best. His scenes with Bob Hoskins are just gold in that. I just love those scenes.
Bang. All right, so what are our overall thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
I'd watch it again.
I think I will too. It's a good one.
I have to see if my kids have seen it, because it turns out that they've seen movies that I don't remember showing them that I showed them, and so apparently we all watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which obviously makes sense. Of course I would show them Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but I didn't remember doing that, and so I'm asking them, have you guys ever seen this? And they're like, Mom, you watched it with us. So I don't know if they've seen this or not. And I don't know what they think about it.
We did a movie fest once. We did the first 3 films all in one weekend with my kids. I have to be very careful showing films to my kids because, like you, I remember how I felt about the movie and I forget certain details. But I'll never forget the time when I let them watch The Goonies. I had completely forgotten all the cursing in the film. And it was that point in our lives that our kids were still a little young. And so we were kind of sheltering them from some of the bad language in film. And now, of course, they're just assaulting.
Well, yeah.
Yes. They're all adults now and they can do that. But back then, oh boy, those kids started dropping those bombs. And my wife was like,
oh, shut it off. Shut it off now.
Stop.
At this point, your son's a soldier. He could teach you a few curse words.
Oh, yeah. He's the now.
Yeah, my kids are nasty swearing all the time, and they're cute because I know that they feel comfortable because they're willing to swear around me, and I don't really swear all that much. So, but it's why I want to see if they've seen this, because I had forgotten how often I watched this movie. I mean, I was listening. I'm listening to the dialogue, and I'm going, okay, I know what comes next. I remember this. I remember this, and I want them to see the films that were impactful on me as a youth.
Right.
I want them to experience that, even if they're going to come away from it saying, "Mommy, why did you make us watch Aliens when we were 10 years old?" And I said, "I did not make you watch Aliens. I made you watch the end scene so you could see that monsters could be killed." And
Right.
that's why I would want to see this again, and I'd like to see it with them.
Okay, Jesse, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely will end up watching this again. My son right now, he's 9, but he's, you know, part of his generation. He can grow up with commercials. And he's at a stage right now where he doesn't emotionally connect with characters. He'd be like, "Hey, Dad, I want to watch the Minecraft movie," and the 20 minutes they took to set up the characters and their motivations was too boring for him to keep watching. He's like, "Whatever, I'm going back to my iPad and learning how to draw stuff." Like, he didn't even want to sit that long. So I'm saving some of these movies like this, the Indiana Jones trilogy, Lord of the Rings, to where he's got a little bit more of an attention span built up. But I believe that the media that you consume, the heroes that you have, they're important. And I believe that Indiana Jones is an important hero to developing our sense of what a hero is. He's not quite an anti-hero. He's not perfect. He's a good, solid, in that solidly chaotic good slot where he has a very specific objective and he tries to take care of people even when it's not in his best interest. And, you know, I think of this, you know, when I was a kid, when I was 8, 9 years old, Indiana Jones and the Tomb Raider games, which, you know, Laura is female Indiana Jones, were huge for me. So yeah, this is one I'll revisit for me. It's one I'll revisit for my kids, and you know, I hope that as time goes on, it's as much of a classic tale for everyone else as it is for us.
And last but certainly not least, Madam Teri. Thoughts on the overallness of this movie?
I think this is a really solid film, especially for its age. It's one that my dad and I watched all the time, all the Indiana Jones movies he showed me when I was younger. And you know, might not be my favorite of the 3, but it's still an awesome, solid bit of storytelling. I'll be watching it again since I still enjoyed it at my age.
What, at your age of 21? Come on now.
Yeah.
Hey, add another decade in there, and plus a few.
All right. So one of the things we didn't do is a commercial because Michael LaVoice is sponsoring this episode. I made him pay and put his clothes on to come on this episode. Let me just tell you, the pre-show it was a little bit rough. I was like, man, the ladies aren't here yet. Michael, put your shirt on, please. But Michael, you're sponsoring this with your YouTube channel, which you've recently started. What can we expect from that YouTube channel? And obviously, I will link to it in the show notes, but it is the LaVoice is in your head, I believe, right?
No. It is LaVoice in your head.
There we go.
That is the name of the channel. I got a message from my sister the day after I launched it that she said, "Hey, my husband just told me you just thought of the best name for a YouTube channel ever, and I hate you because now I'm jealous." Her YouTube channel is for wine and reason. So I like that too. I like that too. I thought that was kind of cool. But so it runs in the family, having a penchant for naming stuff. But yeah, it's LaVoice in your head. If I have any of my family members on as guests, then it will be LaVoices in your head. I've already made that call, and I'll change the titles of the show for that purpose. But it's just basically me talking like we do here about nerdy things that interest me. So far, I've done videos on World War II comics. That was my most recent one. some of my favorites from back in the day, because I had this period where I was completely obsessed with World War II comics, in between my periods of Batman, Superman, and then Green Lantern and Spider-Man. I did a video about the new Highlander movie that's in production, starring Henry Cavill, and why it's a terrible idea. You can go check that out. I've done videos about the new upcoming Superman movie, about the Green Lantern TV show, and why did they cast someone that looks like a hobo who mugged a Green Lantern for his ring to play Hal Jordan. I have no idea why they cast Kyle Chandler in that role. He looks awful. But anyway, so yeah, just stuff like that, whatever I happen to be thinking about that week. And I go on and I just tell everybody I am Michael LaVoice, a.k.a. LaVoice in your head, and I'm fit to talk nerdy with you. And then I just roll from there.
I thought we weren't supposed to talk about the fact that you were immortal and were around in World War II, and now you're talking about your comic books as a kid.
Well, they were produced after World War II. Yeah, sure. They were produced after World War II.
We'll stick with that lie. Okay. The link for that will be in the show notes. And if you drop it for me before this airs, I will throw your sisters in there just because, so they can check those both out if you like wine. It's about wine as in the beverage, not kids whining at you.
No, hers is more of a political platform. She's a very politically active young lady, and for wine and reason. And so she talks about intellectual topics for the most part.
Well, that would not fit our brand, so we will just move on and say thank you for coming on the show.
She's still a big nerd, though.
that counts. This is the part where we remind you, dear listener, to please be kind and speak your mind on the reviewing platforms. Your reviews help the right readers find the right books. It really does matter. So do your part, people. And with that, we're going to do round robin, and everyone's going to tell me where we can stalk them on the internet and then what they're writing. So, Michael, you're at the top of the sir. You're in the Brady Bunch Square first. So,
Vogue. No, it's.
I believe you're like the housekeeper.
Oh, right. I'm in the Ann B. Davis slot. I got to go open the back door for the late night meat delivery. Hold on. Oh. So, you can find me at my webpage, michaellavoice.com. You can also find me on my YouTube channel, LaVoice in Your Head. I'm also on X and Facebook as that Michael LaVoice, because apparently there's more than one of me running around out there. And you can find all of that via my link tree, which will be in the show notes.
All right. And what are you writing?
Right now, we have finished Sarcom Book 1, me and my co-author, Peter Stanley, my favorite Kiwi. And that is off to a developmental editor to make sure that our author voices have properly meshed. And so for the nonce, I've gone back to ghostwriting, working on a project for somebody, and developing my Gearhead Gorillas storyline for a series that I've been working on for a while now, about a group of maintenance battalion guys who get stuck behind enemy lines and use their knowledge of how to fix stuff to do the opposite and become the greatest saboteurs in military history.
I will say that you've done a good job about training Peter on the concept of time zones, because I don't get woke up at crazy hours anymore.
I think after I yelled at him the first 2 or 3 times, and then once I actually answered the video call in my underwear, they stopped after that. So it worked. It worked.
It used to not bother me as much. He'd catch me right when I was going to bed because I was a night owl. But now that I got the puppy, I'm in bed by midnight, so I can get up at 6 to take him out. So yeah, that just isn't something I could deal with anymore. But we'll move on and try to think happy thoughts instead of the LaVoice in his underwear. And Melissa, what are you writing at the moment, and how might we stalk you on the wild, wild interwebs?
At the moment, I'm working on my urban fantasy, contemporary fantasy series about the dimension of fairy that has been attached to our world with a barrier that the humans put up to keep the elves from getting in. The barrier has gradually poisoned fairy over 1,000 years, and now that the fairies are back, the elves are back, they are pissed. So that is my urban fantasy series, featuring a young mother of small children as the main character. And you can find me at melissamcshanewrites.com, or my storefront is at nightharborpress.com. I'm also on X as McShane and on Facebook. I have a Facebook readers group. And I don't have a link tree yet, but I have a little Post-it note next to my desk here that says, please get one.
In the side chat, if you could see what we write to ourselves while we're on these podcasts, you might blush. But LaVoice says the elves are back, and this time it's personal. I was thinking when she said that about a young mother, I was like, between colicky babies and changing diapers, she said because she just needed a nap.
Hey man, you get a sleep deprived new mother, she could take on an entire army.
So we did an episode yesterday or the day before where Melissa was on, and we were joking like we could do a female version of like a postmenopausal woman for the old man's war, be like the old ladies that are just wanting to shake their fists at the sky when they're there, and then we give them young bodies and send them at the war. Like
that's right.
That could be the next.
What is it?
You'd be terrified.
Joan Wick? What would you?
Yeah,
Joan Wick sounds good.
Well, Scalzi did the old man's war, so we would have to do something.
Old man's war. Old ladies.
There were ladies in that one, though.
Yeah, they were, but they weren't the main characters. And I'm not sure about how well.
Hot flashes and artillery coming soon from Bayonet.
I'm trying to think of a tagline because Old Woman's War just sounds like a knockoff and it doesn't quite do it.
Yeah.
There's something there. I think we could do it. And then everyone does their heroine is like 12 to 16. It gets annoying. I'm like, come on, give me someone who's lived life.
Right.
So I think
I know. You say Jesse had it almost. Jesse said a woman scorned, but no, you go, hell hath no fury, ... And then just let the reader fill in the rest of the quote.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Okay.
All right. So Teri, what are you writing? What are you narrating? And then how can we stalk you on the Wild Wild Interwebs?
I'm going to say, do Jesse first. I've got it timed. I freeze every 2 minutes, and I'm about 20 seconds away.
All right, Jesse, what are you writing and how can we stalk you?
I am working on absolutely way too much. I just submitted a story to Blades and Black Magic, which is going to be out from Raconteur Press. I have no idea if they are going to take it. If they don't, I will find a different home for it. Michael was kind enough to beta read for me. I'm amped for that one. I hope they take it. I really love the character that's in it. We have the Holy Diver in the Midnight Sea, which LaVoice will also be a part of. I'm super amped for. And by the time this airs, right now we're filming, there's a couple days left, but by the time this airs, the submission period for Biological Bedlam, Chaos Theory Biological Bedlam should be shut. So I'll have a whole antho of stories to edit and get stuff back to authors and start putting that in order, everything like that. So there's a ton going on. If you would like to find me or my work, you can find me at outlawauthor.com. That will take you to everything. I have a link on there. There's a socials page. If you go to the socials page, you'll find my Substack, my X, all that. Those are probably my two biggest platforms right now is Substack and X. I have a Facebook page. You're welcome to add me. It is a personal page. It's gunfire, foul language, and heavy metal. If you enjoy those things, show up. If you don't, stay away.
And I think if you're going to go with Outlaw Author as your website, you almost need a cowboy theme where like, put your hands in the air and reach for the sky. It's a stick up or something. I mean, like you need to lean into like the spaghetti Western.
Oh, well, I can't wear it because I got my headphones on, but I did pick up my official convention hat.
Very nice.
And I'll slowly start customizing it. But yeah, I'm working on it. The motifs are there, and you'll see Vera. Vera's got a cowboy hat. She's a lot more than just a cowboy, but y'all see that when you get to the website.
Yeah, I've been rocking the Gladius Leagues merch.
I like that one.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, and Teri.
Available at my merch store. Yeah.
Teri, what are you writing and what are you narrating, and then how might we find you?
Okay, let's see. This is August. This is going to air. August, right?
Yes, this is airing in August, and you are freezing, so
August.
the internet is not liking you.
That was the 2 minutes. I'm back on now. At least I should be. I should be good for 2 minutes. So this is airing in August. So I just finished narrating an anthology. Holy God. At the moment, I'm kind of starting to flesh out some urban fantasy, a fae court in the middle of downtown Boston, which has been so much fun. I'm also working on some final edits for a novel that I'm writing. Maybe a third book in a series, maybe not. Who knows? We'll see. And I am most commonly found on the Book of Faces when I'm not hiding from the world under a rock, which is also common.
I hide under a rock too. Do you see Peter, or was it who's the guy? The joke would have landed if I could remember the character in SpongeBob. Patrick.
Usually my rocks are above water, but on the few occasions that I stick my head under the deep blue, he's usually there.
Okay. Again, it would have been funnier if I could have remembered and not had that TBI moment, but you know, what are you going to do?
I was picking up what you were putting down. It was good.
You're tracking like a VCR. I'm there for it. All right. And you can find us, dear listener, dear viewer at home, on our link tree, linktr.ee linktree/Blasters and Blades podcast. Again, linktree/Blasters and Blades podcast, where we link to all the things, the BitChutes, the Rumbles, the YouTube, the TikToks, the Twitters. We've got our Spotify, our Discord, our Blasters and Blades Facebook group and Facebook page. We have our email, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com. Again, blastersandbladespodcast@gmail.com for professional purposes only, people. Save the shenanigans from Madam Stabby Stab over there on the Instagram, Twitter, and the email. We have our buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley to support the show. Again, buymeacoffee.com/author J.R. Handley. Be sure to put in the podcast in the comments that is for the podcast, and I promise I will keep my co-host duly caffeinated. They will drink that brand coffee till it pours out of their ears, and then we'll say, "Ooh, that looks gross." But yeah, you can get a discount if you use the code Podcast Grunts. You get 10% off. We get a little bit of a kickback, and maybe if we get enough, I can send a pallet of Pepsi to Melissa, who's dying for some, and maybe some Dr. Pepper to Jana, who's absent. She's on a Dr. Pepper sabbatical. She's communing with her inner doctor. So with that, I would like to thank you for spending some of your precious time with us. For my crazy co-host, I am J.R. Handley, and this was the Blasters and Blades podcast. We'll be back next week at the same time, where we'll indulge our love of nerd culture, cheesy jokes, and all things that go boom, shakalaka. All right, with that, we're going to hit the end button. Don't start cussing